What are you doing over there?
We have to pretend like we're like talking to one person.
So on Sunday night, we went into Hollywood or Atwater or wherever that was to the Vista, and we saw
One battle after another.
directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. And it was incredible. And it was at the Vista Theater, which is owned by Quentin Tarantino, he took it over in
2023.
All right, recently. Pam's Coffee's next door.
Buttered popcorn.
The real Tarantino
The real deal.
buttered popcorn.
It was good.
Every batch he sticks his feet in, just for the full Tarantino effect.
That makes me think of the lady that did the grape scene.
Oh, the grape lady.
The grape lady.
What is it? She's like, that's a millennial throwback right there.
Vista Vision.
Vista Vision. Can I nerd out about Vista Vision?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I'll just tune out, though.
Okay, cool. So Paul Thomas Anderson directed One Battle After Another, and he intended it to be watched in a format called Vista Vision, which was, I guess, fairly popular in the 1950s. But now there's only like 4 movie theaters in the world. And we had the privilege of going to one of them, the Vista, and seeing One Battle After Another in VistaVision, which means normally when films are shot on motion picture cameras, the film moves vertically through the through the lens that takes in the light. But with VistaVision, it actually goes horizontal, so you get more resolution, and the aspect ratio is more kind of like a still photo camera. So as you can see, we're holding the mics like Gen Z.
Yeah.
So we thought that would be cool to try that.
Yeah.
Of course, me and every other millennial dad is going to have this outfit for Halloween. This is going to be the top Halloween outfit.
Yep.
I expect to see like 400 of these when we're taking our kids trick-or-treating.
All the dads are just going to be smoking doobies.
Yeah, exactly.
With their bathrobes on.
Yeah. I'm going to get into vaping just for my method
Was
Halloween
he vaping?
costume.
I thought it was like old school,
He's-
like rap his own.
He smoked many things.
Oh.
Many things were smoked.
Really? Let's start with genre.
Genre. Okay.
Yeah, there's...
What's your take?
Well, I like to read the reviews and just kind of get a feel like how are other people thinking.
And what are people saying?
Yeah, so other people are saying that it's just a mixed bag. It's all over. It's too much. It's trying to do too much. There's the dramedy and the action thriller and the political drama aspect, and they didn't like that it jumped around so much.
I heard you say that you read somebody was saying like it wasn't nuanced enough.
Yeah, they were saying that the villain, Sergeant Lockjaw, was like too one-dimensional. They claimed that the villain in The Incredibles had more personality dimension than this villain.
In The Incredibles?
Yeah. The kid that like flies around trying
that's
to
a great
be
movie. Yeah.
like wants to be incredible himself, but ends up being the villain. Yeah.
Maybe it was inspired by that. Can I give you my unhinged take on all that, or my?
Yeah. What do you think? What would you say to that?
I mean, I'm a little offended on this. When you first told me this yesterday, I was like kind of peeved or more. I was pretty frustrated because I was like, this person doesn't understand that this movie is not just like a random action movie. First of all, have you seen any other PTA movies? But
You were about to say PTSD, weren't you?
well, there's that is involved.
It gives you that feeling. Yeah.
But this is not just like an action movie. I think the movie should be classified in the category of fantasy because like there's so many things that are fantastical about it that I think if we go into the theater and view it as like I'm going to watch a fantasy movie that uses real life situations and problems, it would like make a lot more sense. Like look, like the guy's name is Colonel, is it Sergeant or Colonel? Sergeant Lockjaw. Like that's not a real person's name. And was it Perfidia Beverly Hills? That's not that common of a name.
But when you say fantasy, I'm thinking like Pan's Labyrinth with the little like root baby under the bed that's like squirming around. Like that's not in this that's not this movie. So you don't mean that kind of fantasy.
I don't mean that kind of fantasy, but it's like Paul Thomas Anderson has crafted his own world. He's done world building, and he's not saying this is exactly the world that we live in. He's like, this is a world I've made. Now enter into it and enjoy.
Okay, but
okay.
There are some things in this movie that are very real, and I think we have to slow down and just mention, like in the opening sequence where they're coming in at the border to take over and free the people in these cages at the border. That's happening. There are people locked away right now with horrible conditions, families being torn apart by ICE, and watching that and experiencing all the emotions that were happening for these people feels very real. It was not a fantasy at all. And when you see these military guys coming with their guns and they're in their uniforms and they are like breaking into homes and into like that's happened with ICE. They've done that. That's very real, not fantasy. Yeah, this film like shows some of that.
That's true. I fully agree. Maybe there's a way to combine this problem where I'm saying it's fantasy and you're saying this is like very real. So maybe a way to look at it is like surrealism. It's almost like a dream world that he creates, and we enter into this dream with him, which really all film is kind of like. I think some early filmmakers said that like all film is like entering into a dream. And like examples of that are
well, when you say dream, it makes me think of your dream layers theory.
I do have a theory called thank you for the hype. Cheers. Okay.
He has a whole video explaining deeper into. We'll put
watch it
the
somewhere.
link is.
So dream layers is this theory that like why do we love the movies? What makes a movie a movie? What makes something cinematic and draws us into the story? Instead of just like if I go outside and like film something right now, it's not a movie. And most of the stuff we watch on the internet is like not a movie. But why is it when we like watch a movie, it's a movie? And my theory is dream layers, that you need a certain number and the right ones, layers of production kind of stacked up, whether it's like certain visual things from everything from camera to lensing to format to or performance-based things to your talent, your script. It's like all the things that go into production design, wardrobe. Every one of these things you're adding is a new layer that grabs the audience and pulls them out of their everyday, normal, like boring reality into the world of the story. And so like every movie does that, but I think Paul Thomas Anderson is incredibly good at that, so much so that I think he's intentionally almost saying like, this is a dream world. And, if you're like a psychologist, we know when we dream, we're dealing with very real things in our lives, like anxieties.
Some might say that. Yeah.
So evidence for dream.
I love talking about dreams.
You do. That's right.
I get excited.
Well, that's like your parts work. Like every character in your dream is a part of you or something like that. That could be applied to movies as well. But
movies really help highlight some of our own parts because they amplify the characters usually, and our parts are amplified when we try to keep them down like they don't exist that way. And we.
Are you saying that I have like an inner lockjaw?
Yeah.
Probably.
Me too. Mm-hmm. And it may not come out in you in the same way that this character is on screen. It might be in subtler ways.
Like I'm afraid of losing power or something like he seems to be.
I mean, this is going on this tangent, but how old do you think the dominant part of Lockjaw, how old do you think that part is? That's kind of driving his character to make the decisions he makes. And
probably under 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say teenager, maybe even young teenager.
Yeah,
still, like just have gone through puberty.
I wanted to talk about choreography, dance.
Tell us. How do you see this
Dance.
as a dance
This
film?
is a dance film. I think the film goes beyond like what we think of cinematography, and just in the way that the film is directed and filmed, it starts to approach at times choreography. I'm thinking of all the skateboard scenes are they're like a dance. It's almost like approaching like a musical, or what is it? Is it Tati, that French director from the mid-century that would kind of turn the whole world into like a clockwork choreography, like in Playtime. And there's
or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah, that's choreography.
They're actually in the roofs. And
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that roof scene, and then even when the skateboarders first come down the street, the way they come through is like very beautifully done. And then the roof scene, and then of course the hill scene is choreography and cinematography, but there's kind of almost a dance to that.
The road humps chase scene.
Yeah. Another, I guess, piece of evidence from this theory of it being a surreal film is the carpet. Do you remember the carpet? It's even in the trailer. Even if you've seen the trailer, the carpet scene when Benicio del Toro like closes the hatch and then the carpet goes.
Oh yes. Well, I was gonna say the whole nun space felt kind of surreal. Like
It did, yeah.
The way that they were just out in the desert, black nuns training the revolutionary
nuns, yeah.
Yeah.
And that almost fantasy, almost like Jedi Knights or something like that. Or, and the way they shot that was a little surreal. Like, remember that scene where I think it was, is it Willa is facing that woman who rescued her from the school? I forget her character's name.
Regina is the actress.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Yep. And they're like facing each other, and there's like this lamp or candle in between them, and the way it's lit and shot is very like magical and intentional and surreal. It's not like realism, and I don't think he's going for that. And I think I think the surrealism is like one of Paul Thomas Anderson's traits, right? Even in Licorice Pizza, the way they film some of that, and
you said like the scene where they're driving the truck and it's going backwards down the hill.
Yeah, that's almost like a Laurel and Hardy or a Three Stooges kind of thing.
Okay, but we have had an actual in real life situation that was kind of like that.
Did we? What?
When we had a Airstream trailer behind our truck, we're on the highway, and you're coming over a hill. You hit the top of the hill, and you tell me, we're out of gas, and I just lost power steering.
That's true, yeah.
And we're on the highway, and just happens that there is an off-ramp that you took.
It was a middle turn lane. It wasn't even off-ramp.
Oh, it was an off-ramp.
It was like a left turn that opened up on the highway.
That just happened to, like, very easily, casually let us drift through a stop sign.
Yeah, and then
it was
no
clear.
cars were coming.
It was clear. Into the gas station, right at the pump.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah. The car lost momentum right as we came up to the pump.
So, were we living in a surreal moment?
Well,
because it didn't feel like real life.
Some philosophers think there's an absurdity to reality, so that one was a wild experience. It was almost miraculous. Yeah.
Yep.
It was like a Paul Thomas Anderson film. It was, yeah. Mm-hmm. There will be gas.
There will be gas. There will be blood.
There will be blood.
There will be blood.
Honestly, it's been like 10 years since I've seen that.
Well, I was hearing someone else talk about the framing of that and how the camera work is very simple. And
simple?
He doesn't, like, Paul Thomas Anderson doesn't choose, like, the fancy, like, follow the character through the dance scene, or in Magnolia, there's, like, some fancy camera work in the game show.
Yeah, there is. Like, it's always pushing in on the game show. It creates this, like, nonstop energy. Yeah.
So in this film, One Battle After Another, I do think that there was a bit more space so that the performances really shine.
That's true.
And the locations that they were filmed at like became part of the story rather than, it's almost like when you do that fancy camera work, it's like you are personifying the camera in a way because it has so much personality and quirk in the way the camera is moving you through the space. Whereas if the camera is more still, it allows the scenery or the subjects to like be the focal point. Yeah.
One disagreement.
Okay, tell me.
There was like tons of fancy camera work at certain parts, but then
I do.
other
Okay,
parts,
I do remember the scene when we're walking. We're following the soldiers through some military space, right?
Yeah.
And we're following them through.
Phone was ringing.
Yeah. Is that what you were talking about?
I was thinking like the hill scene is all camera work, and that's like wild. Like I don't know how they got focus. I don't know how they maintain focus on some of those hill shots. Yeah.
I was hearing that because it was in Vista viewing.
Vista Vision. Oh yeah.
Vista Vision. WandaVision. It was a lower shot. It ends up feeling lower and faster when you're on the car, the front of the car.
Because you can drop that camera right down to the ground because it's all oriented horizontal. So the big
that
film
makes sense. I didn't know why.
Like the film reels or rolls, they don't have to be vertical; they're horizontal. So
it feels like you're just like on a roller coaster.
I never thought of that. It does. That was that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well read. Cheers. Okay. Do we want to talk about violent revolution?
Yeah, this is a interesting topic. Yeah. Is there such thing as redemptive violence?
Right. And that, like, in movies, I love redemptive violence. It's so exciting. Like, every Mission Impossible movie or whatever, every action movie is created on the idea of redemptive violence. So when it comes to, like, art and movies, like, I can't critique this film because every movie has redemptive violence. And I love it. But in real life...
Because we're dealing with some real topics.
The question is, in real life, is there such thing even? I don't really know. I feel like maybe there's a few examples I can think of, but it seems very rare that violence has ever actually created the world that we're longing for.
At what point and how do people fight back? How do they...
Yeah.
If you're saying violence isn't the way.
I don't know. Like me sitting here, it's easy for me to say that. But if you have no rights at all and you're being oppressed, like what else are you going to do? Like I'm not going to judge somebody. I still think it rarely seems to be helpful. There's a few times that it seems like it has been. But who am I to judge when it gets to a certain point and people are so oppressed? Like I can't judge anyone. And I think the film does a good job of showing like that even the revolutionaries, where there's a part of me that I want to be a revolutionary, like I want to, take down capitalism.
We all want to be a hero.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a way, it shows even in the film the problems out of that, even like where, it starts with they're just bombing banks and they're making sure that nobody's in it. Or, they're just bombing like government buildings and stuff. They're not actually doing like violence to human beings.
Which the Weather Underground did as well.
And who is the Weather Underground?
So the Weather Underground started at university in Michigan with like a campus student club, the Students for Democracy. And that space factioned into a group that became a bit more radicalized and wanted to really see if they could create a movement to take down capitalism, which became a whole movement of wanting to like declare war on the United States and try to like pull down the whole government. And it's interesting to read how it started was really wanting to create more freedom and security for lower
said caste.
I want to say caste.
Yeah, that's what it is. The class.
Lower class people,
America
and
has a caste
create
system.
like jobs for people, or like a secured annual income is what they were envisioning, so that we could lessen the disparity between the upper and lower classes. So that's where it started, was a critique on capitalism, and then it became, I think they realized this is never going to happen in our current system, and that it was really the system that had to fall in order to create a more socialist, because they were coming from a very Marxist space.
I read a little bit about that. In an attempt to do that, they had similar internal problems, kind of like what are shown in the film, where they wanted to give, like, you know, full liberty to women, but it was often men who still had leadership positions, and then there was abuse and even sexual abuse that happened in the Weather Underground. And so they kind of crumbled, as well as being kind of like shut down on the outside by like the government. It also kind of crumbled on the inside, and I think the film does a good job of kind of showing both those things. And though it's interesting to defend the Weather Underground a little bit, even though I don't want to because I don't like violence, the film does a good job of showing how state violence is often seen as like legitimate. So it's like, it's easy to critique the Weather Underground's violence, because I don't want vigilante violence. I don't like that. But we kind of do right now have vigilante violence that's being perpetrated by the state.
With masked men and unmarked cars.
Right.
Yeah.
So that somehow gets a pass. I don't think either should get a pass. But it's like culturally more acceptable for the state to enact violence and for people to be okay with it, because I guess it's the devil you know or something instead of the devil you don't, or however that phrase goes.
I don't know. Don't be the devil.
Whether you're known or unknown.
Well, so one of the critiques online was this viewer was thinking that they did portray a noble view of this revolution. And I read that and did not think that it was a noble. And then I was trying to think of like what would make it noble.
I know what was noble. Benicio del Toro was noble.
He was noble. He's like the noble knight.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan Kenobi or whatever.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, because Star Wars is like a vigilante.
Yeah. And it's
rebellion.
Easy.
There's a revolution, rebellion. So what about Star Wars feels more noble?
Well, it's mythological, right? So it's like very easy to be black and white in Star Wars, because it's a very clear good guys, bad guys. And at least in the first few original movies, yeah, that was a very clear. There wasn't kind of like that much of a question of like, is there like a cancerous growth within the good guys? And the movies went there eventually. But I think, yeah, that's a tough one of like, it's easy to paint your movement as the good rebels. And there's a part of me that likes the rebel, you know. I love Star Wars, and I love the idea of the little guy getting their their justice, and it feels good. And
taking down the all-powerful,
taking down the empire,
dominant force.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's just rarely that clean. And sometimes it's fairly clean. Like, I'm glad Nazis don't control Europe right now. That's, I hate war, but I'm glad that they don't. But in the midst of that, the U.S. burned down Tokyo and blew up Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Like, it's not like we were the good guys per se. I'm very glad fascism isn't.
But was all of that noble?
I don't think it was. Like
when I think of this noble vigilante, Robin Hood comes to mind, right? Like stealing from the rich, giving to the poor, which actually is not the original telling of that myth.
What was it?
It evolved to that.
Was he just like a robber to begin with?
He was an outlaw.
Okay.
It was very personal.
Oh, against
the Prince
sheriff
John or the
Prince
sheriff.
Okay.
I guess, yeah. And because of the laws that were being abused around personal property and hunting regulations or whatever, and people could get like killed for not obeying the laws.
Okay, like hunting on the king's land or whatever.
Yeah, so he would get so much money and tax all these people unjustly, and which was all based. Okay, this is a tangent, but
That's
I
great.
got
Go
into
for it.
like research mode today, which is all based on the King John of England, and I think this was like in 1100, and then they made him sign that. This is what the U.S. needs.
Not the Magna Carta.
Yeah, the Magna Carta. Then he had to sign the Magna Carta.
Isn't that what our Constitution is based on? Is the Magna Carta?
Well, it's not working. It's because it says no king is above the law.
I mean,
basically.
that's what the protests were about, right? No kings,
Yeah.
no king is above the law.
There you go.
What the film does have, I don't think it's as political as people are talking about, but I think it does have a morality or an ethics messaging, which a lot of postmodern films didn't. You know, if you're talking about like the Vietnam films, and then even like No Country for Old Men and Departed, like they're kind of like these nihilist, amoral films, and this film is not nihilist and amoral, and it's weird to me that people are like, oh, I wish it was, because it's kind of nice to have something that's not nihilist. And what's the problem?
What makes it not nihilist? Or first of all, what is nihilism?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
it's like
This is like a real conversations where I'm like, wait, tell me again. What does that mean?
I don't know. No, it's like
Tell us all.
it's saying there's no like inherent morality in the universe.
It's like God is dead, isn't that?
Right. Yeah. And it's like so we have to figure it out on our own, and all that exists is like power plays. There's no actual right and wrong. We're just like meat bags. So it's morality, just some cultural constructed.
The evolution, that is taken over, and we're just trying to be the top dog.
There's no authorities other than ourselves and power dynamics. Right. And those films are good too, because sometimes that's the way it feels in this world. And so you've got The Departed or No Country for Old Men or whatever. But I think there have been more films recently than I think this one has more of a moral center. Even if it doesn't have an answer for violence, it has a moral center around like the children are worth protecting, and and immigrants are worth having human dignity. Yeah. And
feeling safe.
And so it has a moral center, even if it doesn't necessarily have a political solution. And I like that about it. And I think I like movies, even if it doesn't know why, it just knows, Benicio del Toro's character knows that he's got to tell the cops he had a couple small beers, and he's got to get taken in, and that's going to save a kid's life. Yeah.
Yeah, he cares about her. Yeah.
His character is so good.
It is.
We gotta go see this again. I want to go see this again soon.
Yeah.
All right, go see the movie. Tell us what you think.